today's episode, we address your Black Friday, Cyber Monday questions, including sending to recent purchasers, automated message prep, incentive strategy, and even a live holiday email review. I'm Greg Zakowicz.
And I am Gabe Macaluso. Greg, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are coming up. What is the worst thing you ever bought during that time?
Oh, man, I don't know. Maybe an enema kit 3-pack? I mean, do you really need more than one? Welcome, everybody, to today's show. You know how it works. 5 topics, 3 minutes each. This thing's going to hell already. We run long. Hector yells at us, and we move on. Before we get started, be sure to click that like and subscribe button so you don't miss amazing videos just like this one. We know that Black Friday, Cyber Monday is a critical time for marketers, and Omnisend wants you to get the email and SMS help you need when you need it. And that's why Omnisend offers live 24/7 customer support, including during the holidays. So be sure to find out about all the value that Omnisend provides at omnisend.com or the link in the video description. Gabe, our first topic today deals with sending to recent purchasers. So knowing customers will typically make multiple purchases during the holiday, should brands send emails and SMS to all contacts, including those who just purchased during the holidays? What would you say?
Oh. Yep. All right. So, story. I love a good story. So I bought a piece of luggage.
Yep.
Next day, I get an email that says, save 30% off. Contacted their support saying, hey, I made a purchase yesterday. Got an email today saying 30% off. What can you do to help me? And they said, sorry, we can't do anything to help you. Literally never buy from that company ever again. They had their one chat. So this is always a challenge for me because normally I'm like, exclude recent purchasers. You just don't want to have to deal with those support tickets. It's not worth it. And it creates discord amongst your purchasers. It takes one person to go to Facebook and start something, and then you get people piling on, and that's not the reputation you want to build. So if you are doing multiple steps of your cyber season selling, yes, of course, you're going to want to include everybody as much as possible. I'd be very clear in your sort of sales disclaimers in terms of like, hey, these deals are so great. All sales are final. That's our story. That's what we're sticking to kind of situation. Or empower your support team that if someone does come to you, they have the flexibility to actually extend a discount, say, hey, I can't refund what you purchased yesterday, but I have approval to give you an extra 10% off the crazy deal today if you make a purchase, right? Like give them something in their tool bag to help them out and make that a good customer experience. I think also, again, it kind of goes back to like, what are you doing in terms of your sale? If it's like, on Monday, you're offering 30% off for 3 days, and on Thursday, you're going to offer 50% off, I'd probably segment out everybody who purchased and give them a different message. It's not going to take that long. It can be a lot of the same copy and content, but just like, hey, we know you purchased on Monday. Thank you so much. Now, if you buy today, it's 50% off. And then send your 50% off to everybody else. That way it's like, oh, they're getting something special because they did purchase earlier in the week, and now they're getting exclusivity to this bigger discount. Like, play on those words. I think that's extremely important in terms of how that's positioned, not just like, should have bought on Monday. That was a mistake on your part. Dumb. Now all these other people are going to get 50% off. No one likes to be told they're dumb. No one wants to be seen as they've done something wrong. And FOMO, right? It's a real thing. So I have done a really long-winded answer, and I don't know how you could add anything on top of that, but I'm sure you have some thoughts, Greg. So what do you got?
Well, I don't need to add much because you've used almost the whole 3 minutes. So Hector, I apologize. We're going over already. So, all right, real quick, like you, most of the year, yes, avoid, suppress those recent purchases. This is always, I love your story because I was going to give a very similar story to that, where I got hey, we can't do anything for you, but here's 10% off your next order. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, you're gone, right? Out of here. So, with you on those, I think the one thing you mentioned there was like when you suppress them, if you get 30% one day, 50% the next day, or, you have these 2-day sales, whatever it might be. Yeah, it probably makes sense then. The other thing to do is if you just want to be a little more cautious about reducing those support tickets or doing that, just take anyone who purchased maybe just the day before, right? Suppress them from that day or whatever. You have a little leeway during the holidays because people know Black Friday is on Black Friday. They know it's probably going to start early. So if they buy 2 days before Black Friday and you don't tell them it's the best deal of the year, right? Those sales haven't started yet. Buyer beware at that point. So yeah, you might want to say, hey, I can give you, maybe free shipping or something if they do complain about it. But, you got to feel it. Are they just doing it to get the 10% off or whatever? So that's the one thing. People know when Black Friday, Cyber Monday are. Now, if it's well before, like it's Cyber Week, right? Maybe just give them a day or two off and then circle back or something. Or like you said, I like the idea of sending a different email. And maybe in that email, you promote stocking stuffers or the value of gifting products versus like you very specifically call it out. Hey, best gifts to give for the season, right? And they get that. So it just kind of changes the narrative a little bit. So that's always a tough one though. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I think each brand, like you said, they're going to have to kind of play this by ear here, but have a response ready for your customer service team because you're going to get it. And I didn't buy luggage, so I know they're two different companies. I've never bought from them again, right? Yeah. Because of that. I'm like, hey, just apologize if you have to. Don't trick you into selling something, buying something new here. So, sorry, Hector. We still love you, though. All right, let's move on.
All right, so we're moving from campaigns to automations. Should brands look to add new automation messages for the holidays, or should brands focus on other areas of their email program?
It depends, but here's how it depends, in my opinion. If one of those automations you are adding is either a welcome message, a browse/product abandonment, or a cart abandonment, I would say yes, add it. If it's not one of those, I think you're okay moving on to other things of your email program. That's just me. And now, I could debate on post-purchase series a little bit, but I think right now, right, you're probably better off focusing on other areas of the program or optimizing the ones you currently have. Now, why those 3 messages? To me, they're the most important 3 messages, but we put out these stats reports. If you're unfamiliar, they are not gated at omnisend.com. Check them out. We put them out all the time. Majority of all automated email orders come from those 3 messages. I think the first half of 2023 might have been about like 87% of all automated email orders from those 3 messages. So they're impactful, they're powerful. I'd spend more time if you're going to tweak something or add it, again, post-purchase series, but I don't think necessary this time of year. I would do that in January. But I would look at optimizing those messages, optimize your transactional messages, optimize your cart abandonment. So, and then focus on the other things like the previous episode we did, which was a complete disaster, but fun to watch. It's fun to watch burning buildings, right? A lot of good stuff in there about other areas of your program to optimize. So if you haven't checked that one out, it's pretty good. But what do you say, Gabe?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I don't think this is the time to migrate transactional emails from your e-commerce platform to your email service provider. There's so many things that could go wrong in that transition. We try to make it as simple as possible, but those, again, I'm a huge fan of how do we limit support tickets? And if you know that those things are working, don't touch them right now. Optimizing the channels that you have, I think, are extremely important. Dabbling with adding additional channels to email. So if you haven't done SMS or you haven't done web push notifications, throwing those into the automation just to kind of be a little bit different than your brand, your competitors, I think is hugely important. I would add one automation that I think some people often overlook. If you really want to optimize and you've got all the time in the world because you're not in the warehouse packing boxes, which if you're a true email marketer, I feel like at some point you've had to be pulled from your desk to go pack boxes if you've been successful. The number one converting email, password reset, often overlooked, but always performs well. So obviously a high intent to buy, it's kind of unfair. People are resetting their password because they're trying to log into their account, but super easy place to go. Here's your password reset. Here's our best recommended products. Done. Still transactional. Get a little bit of that marketing content in there, making sure they're signed up for your emails. High intent to buy. So don't forget about the poor lonely password reset.
And you can have some fun with that too.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, sorry you can't remember your password. I know it's tough these days. Here's a simple code you can remember.
Yeah.
And then you make it really complex, right? I don't know, they can copy and paste it or something for 5% off. But so I think you could have some fun there. Now, we hit right on time, Gabe, but I'm going to keep talking because why not? And I really have nothing valuable to add. So the only thing I would say there is if you want to add new messages to the holidays, they're not really new here, but I got this question during a webinar a few weeks ago. Should we have the same, like copy our current automations over and have holidays in one? So the purpose here, one, you can optimize it just for the holidays if you want to, say nav bars, things like that. But you also have performance reports here. So how does our cart abandonment perform the rest of the year compared to holiday season, right? And then you have two different lines of reporting here you can look at. And that's the one thing where if you want to play around with it, copy it over, make some tweaks there, but then you can kind of compare things over. So, all right, very good. So we were right on time and I pushed it over, but that's how these things roll. Hector loves us. He's still here for us. All right, so Gabe, let's move on. Discounts. The ever popular topic of discounts and Black Friday. It's like email and SMS, Gabe. Strong alone, beautiful together. So see what I did there? What types of incentives or discounts do you think work best for the holiday season?
Okay, so number one is, and I don't know if this is really considered an incentive anymore or just an expectation, is free shipping. And it can be a free shipping threshold. I think that's fine. I think, but it has to be attainable. Like if you're selling $12 pieces of jewelry and you say free shipping on orders of $199 or more, I can tell you, get out of here. Like that's just absurd. It doesn't make sense. But it should be close to your average order value. And there's been some studies, and we can get into the nitty gritty of that in another episode, where it's like, so did you push the free shipping threshold just above your average order value? Because that'll move your average order value up. Or does that increase checkout abandonment and cart abandonment? Because people are like, I don't want to spend any more than this kind of thing. I think free shipping if you can get away with free shipping with no thresholds, especially in the holiday, to kind of get those first time buyers through your door, I think that's huge. That's sort of my number one incentive, especially when you're dealing with the behemoths out there. Other incentives, discounts sell, right? And it's like, and you can play around with it, test, does your audience respond better to dollar off incentives or discount incentives? And I think that's extremely important because I think it's also about your brand and what you're selling in terms of who your clientele are. Some people are going to respond better to dollars off. Some people are going to respond to percentages off. You can also save some margin there. So if you're willing to give 20% off, but you say, hey, I'm going to give you $15 off an order, $100 or more, you've saved yourself 5% margin at a minimum. And of course, you can expand that threshold. So yep. $15 off up to $150. Well, now it's only a 10% discount. That's good. And then I'm sure most brands have already tested this throughout the year. So just look at your campaigns. You've done enough holidays. You know how people are going to respond. So see what works. Do people respond better to percentage off? Do people respond to dollar off? People like the dollar sign. We talked about pattern interrupts in the last episode. That dollar sign is enough sometimes of a pattern interrupt that people go, oh, money, that's good. I'm going to click on that. So lots of things we can kind of play around with there. But yeah, those are the incentives. I'm going to say free shipping is kind of a given. And then I would experiment with dollars and percentages off. What say you, Greg?
So I'll push back a little bit on your comment of, I'm not sure free shipping is an incentive anymore. I saw a massive rise of this with emails I got last year where free shipping was the incentive offered. So the only exception is a lot of them just remove the minimum spend on it. So the offer was free shipping, but to your point of even free shipping, right? When you price what your minimum spend is, it's usually around that average order value. Very few people will go, oh, free shipping here, and they'll buy the $3 item. Like they're going to spend typically your average order value, which is around that free shipping threshold anyways. So I'll push back a little bit on say free shipping. I got tons of emails on this last year. So I would definitely try that because it can certainly protect margins well. Upgraded shipping, of course, I think ties into the same thing. So you get free upgraded shipping. Might cost you a few bucks as a company, but if they're spending average order value, twice average order value, we talked in the last episode about the speed of shipping becoming more important for customers on top of just free shipping. So I think those things combine, but also you can protect your margins a little bit more. I would say the other two are kind of less incentives because I don't think anyone is going to push the envelope. Your point of, hey, you've done enough, you know what your audience responds to is spot on. One thing I always get is 50% off everything, exclusions apply, and 90% of the things I want to buy have exclusions to it. So I would say whatever you're offering, try to limit the exclusions where you can. I think that's the one thing that really put a sour taste in people's mouth. And then this is not a discount, but sell the value adds, right? your customer service policy, your free shipping policies. We also talked about this in the last episode, but those things can overcome obstacles, conversion, higher prices, lower discounts than your competitors. So focus on those things, and I think you'll be fine. But yeah, people expect discounts this time of year. It is what it is. You want to overcome and try to minimize those as much as possible. So, shocker, Gabe, we are well over time again, but people are getting good stuff out of this. So
can I get it? Because we absolutely missed on this one. We forgot an incentive. Free gifts. People love free things. Bundling and that kind of stuff. And what do they say? Copying? No, that's not right. Mimicking is the greatest form of flattery. That's not right.
Imitation is a great
imitation. There it is.
Yeah.
Mimicking, copying, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And those folks at Olive Garden and Red Lobster, they're onto something. When it says, "Hey, you buy 5 $20 gift cards, you get a $20 gift card," right? It's the ultimate baseline of gifting. It's not 20% off. It's, hey, I'm taking effort to give all these gifts to other people. I'm going to give something for myself. I think that's a huge opportunity and something you can play around with, especially like in the cosmetic, lifestyle, clothing brands where it's, hey, you're buying stuff for other people, treat yourself to something nice. I think that's a huge, huge opportunity to incentivize purchasing around the holidays.
Yeah, and the free gift cards, right? All these restaurants do it now, right? But I think it's a great way to secure those after January 1st purchases, like repeat purchases. So most people will save that one for themselves, like you just mentioned, right? So even if it's an online store. So definitely lean into that, especially later in the season where people might be buying gift cards because time is of essence there. Get them something else they can shop for themselves afterward, and they'll be happy with it. So thanks for chiming in on that.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
There we go. All right, Greg, this question is about those lesser thought about things. Are there any items that are commonly overlooked with email programs that we should pay attention to?
Yeah, probably so. What do you think? So we talked on the last episode a little bit about some of this, and today as well, but automation discounts. So a lot of people forget to update the discounts in their automation. So we talked about this before. If you normally offer 10% for signing up, your average discount during the holidays is 30% off. The 10% is meaningless. Same with card abandonment. Same with anything else. Birthday ones. People have birthdays in December. So think about updating those. And again, if you don't know the specific discount you want to give, put a tier discount or put something like upgrade shipping in there. You can set a minimum spend on it. That's okay. But it's something other than that will provide value for the person. Beyond that, I'd say I came across this a week and a half ago and I slacked you on something about this brand was doing something, but making sure the forms work and then things trigger correctly off of it, right? So, do you have your pop-up and then do you have a sign up in the footer? And when you're activating your pop-up, did you deactivate the welcome message triggered out of the footer, right? Small things like that matter, but sometimes it just becomes overlooked and then you forget about it, out of sight, out of mind. So small things like that. Right. And then for the third, and then I'll let you chime in here, I'd say have an extra promo just ready to go in case you need it. It could be an oops email. We talked about scheduling these things, and I think, it's a great way to remail people too, is you just put oops, some people had trouble before. No one did. But have an extra one ready to go, right? So if you know a sale, like, hey, we need this week to really cash in for us, and your sales are a little bit sluggish, have one set up, queue to go, coupon code, different promotion in there to try to bump those sales. Could be the same thing with an SMS message, right? Give a last chance thing ready to go to get a little sales bump. But I'd queue one of those two and just have them on standby.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of covered everything, really. When we talk about like the discounting and the forms and all that kind of stuff, I used to always recommend my customers, I'm like, get a spouse, a significant other, a kid to go through your website and make a purchase, because you eat, live, and breathe this website. And so where your user experience maybe is like, oh, I know if I click the medium size before I click the small size, then I get all the variable options I need. So you instinctively just do that step, right? Like little glitches like that in the website. Get somebody outside that you trust, give them an opportunity to make a purchase all the way through and kind of just highlight, hey, this was weird, let's fix this kind of situation. Little free QA testing, if you will. Outside of that, I think, making sure that your header, your footer, your email header and footer are all aligned. And then make sure your social links work. I know it's silly. Not a lot of people are going to click on them. I think there's going to be an increase in traffic, especially this year into social media links, just because of like how ingrained we are in like reels. I'm seeing more and more promoted posts. Like there's this little grandma that I loved and she's like, did your mom ever teach you? And now she's doing like sponsored posts. They're like almost like too sponsored. She's like, check out this laundry detergent. It's great. I'm like, come on. Like, what are we, anyway. So
everyone's been asking me.
Yes, Then the one guy that's like, I didn't know this until I was 30. I'm like, that's because you're a moron. Anyway, we're digressing. But anyway, make sure your social media links work and make sure the content there, if you're going to include the link in your email, is relevant. There's nothing worse to me than clicking on a Facebook link and seeing that the last post is from 2018. That's 5 years ago. That's a long time. So like, don't link me to your social media page if you're not active. I'd rather you have one Instagram link and that it. Even if you have a Facebook page, don't link me there. There's nothing of value. And it just shows me that you're collecting dust and no one wants to buy from a brand that's collecting dust.
100%. Hundo P. All right, Gabe, final topic today. We're going to go over 3 minutes here because we did it last time. So it's just what it is. But I think it's a cool topic. It is a email review. So we're going to look at another email sent during last year's Black Friday week. We're going to break this thing down. We're going to talk about things we like, what we don't like. And let's start with if Hector, if you want to throw it up on the screen here so we can all take a look. But let's start with the subject line and work through it. So Gabe, first impressions of the subject line here.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in here. There's been some topics about using a first name in the from email address or from the Sons, and it can work. Unfortunately for this brand, it cuts off the brand name. So little negative there, but I like that they're using Chris. It adds that personality to it or that personalization, even though it's not my name. There's some guy named Chris sending me this email. I must be special. And then I like the concept of the exclusivity in the subject line in terms of what it's pushing, like in terms of like, hey, our stock is limited. You're going to get it before everybody else. I give them credit for that. A custom suit. What am I getting a custom suit for? And I think that's the story that they're missing. And they need to be a little bit more careful with that in terms of like, get ready for the big event, get ready for New Year's, dress to impress. There's a lot of things that we could be doing here in terms of where are you going to wear a custom suit around the holidays? And I think they missed the boat on that.
All right, so I'll disagree with you on the Chris from Indoch. So I like the brand. I'm okay with them changing it, right? The more personal feel. But the last email we looked at was, I think it was Tart Cyber Week was the sender from name. So brand name in there, which you can clearly see was the first word. But it also provided what it was, right? It kind of worked as part subject line here. This is a dude's name. Now, I'm not 100% against it. To me, it doesn't add value. Now, I'm thinking Chris is the CEO of the company, right? We get those CEO letters that not sent from the CEO, which I always reply to because they always say like, hey, write me back, let me know what you think. And I always write them something back, and I never received a single response from anyone. But do you know Chris is not the owner of his company? He's just some dude sending emails. I'm like, why? I don't know you, Chris. So Chris, I'm glad it all works out for you, but I don't know you. So I'm sorry, not sorry, but you're not adding value. Subject line, I like the exclusivity of starting the sales early for email subscribers. Whether or not it's actually true or not, I like it. If SMS, I do the same thing. I look at kind of the same thing. Am I shopping for a custom suit? Maybe, maybe not. But if that's what they're selling primarily, cool. Pre-header text, so the preview text here, it doesn't add value to me. So it doesn't talk about the custom suits. It doesn't tell me what the deals are. It doesn't tell me why I should click. It's just like, hey, the early bird gets the worm. They're trying to be cute, playful. Really not working for me that well, though. So, they say the early bird gets the worm. The early worm gets eaten. So you got to balance those two things out a little bit. All right, so move on. I think it could have been a little bit better, but not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, let's open up the email. We'll throw that up on the screen here as well if it's not up already. Hector, thank you. And then, Gabe, what do you think about the email?
So, fan of the text only. I think text only can work.
Oh, this is interesting.
Okay, so I think it can work, right? It can definitely I got it. If I get into like the nitty gritty of the email, let's talk about some things. First of all, thank you for making the logo clickable. I appreciate that. Everything in your email should be clickable.
Check.
So positive points for that. A lot of people overlook that stuff. So cool. The nav bar at the bottom of the email. Okay, you've designed mobile first. Maybe it's not a responsive template. So you've designed for the mobile experience. It's at the bottom. Not my favorite if I'm looking at it on desktop. But hey, we know that most people are shopping on mobile. So I give you a pass. Neutral there. And you've got your social links. Here's where it gets a little hard and a little tricky. Is you're giving me 10% off orders $3.99, but then you tell me a custom suit starts at $3.29. Like, just give me the 10% off at $3.29 if that's where we're going to start. Am I going to spend $3.29? No. You've made it clear that's where I'm starting at. So the likelihood of me getting $32.90 off and getting a custom suit for $329 is probably very low. And Chris probably knows this because he knows his average order value. But as a discerning shopper looking at this, I'm like, And then I guess the other question too is, and of course, I'm not on their email list, but if I'm on their email list, I probably have a little bit more brand awareness of who these people are. But hey, this is real life, folks. This is a responding to the email in live. Is their selling point the custom suit or luxury suits? And that's where I'm a little, I don't know, I'm confused. And I think that's where the value misses here. Things are clicked, things are linkable. There's blue parts. It draws my eyes. I'm okay with the plain text email. If this is a pattern interrupt, probably wouldn't do it on a big Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. But I appreciate what they're trying to do.
All right. So mostly agree with you here. I got a few things. One, I'm a jerk, so I'm going to start off with the small thing that no one had noticed ever in the world. Happy Thanksgiving, period. Since today is the day, you should be a period. That's just a run-on sentence. Doesn't make sense there. Okay, let's ignore that because most people will ignore that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of all text emails. They can work sometimes. This time of year, I want to know what the offer is. I'm getting inundated with emails. I want to be able to see it like the one we saw last time. Promotion, big call to action. I know what I'm getting. Boom. This one, you're making me work for it. So I don't like it. Now, this is the view from my laptop. If I'm on a phone and I've got all these texts, I am not reading a book. I read books when I read books. I don't read books for email. So I think this one, if you're shopping on a mobile phone, which most people are, checking their emails on them, then I think it's missing the boat even more. I did try to click on the blue use code BlackFry10 as my call to action. It is not clickable. I've got to click the black links, I believe, for the clickable call to actions, which I did not like. Same with you, navbar, prefer at the top, normally don't like at the bottom. I gave them a pass because it is all text. However, the value adds underneath the navbar, especially with the fit, a fit promise, things like that, I would have moved that to the top, right? Focus on those value adds. We've talked about that a lot. So, that's where I go with it. Not a huge fan. Think they could have done some things better. Is it terrible? No. I think it's not 6 paragraphs long like a lot of these alt text emails. It is fairly short to the point, little tough to read on the mobile device like I talked about, but it's not terrible. So I'll give it, I don't know. I'm going to knock it for being text because I just personally don't like that. I'll give it like a 6.5.
Yeah, I would. You don't even like text emails, and I'd still probably give it like a 6. And of course, I'm going to be very judicious on this too, because of course, this is from last year, so it's unfair. But I'm clicking through the links and kind of looking at their website, and there are some things and this is what's so important is you've got to test stuff. And I know we focus on email and SMS communication, but that's just the start of the journey. And so I click on their website, I start looking for suits for $3.99 because that's where most shoppers start. They want to see where do you start? You can't sort their product by price. So I start scrolling to the bottom, can I sort and filter? Then they start doing the infinite scroll thing, which again, I get it's site optimization load time, but then don't put anything in the footer of your website because I'm scrolling and then more suits are loading and then I'm scrolling and more suits are loading. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of the web page and I can't get there. Those are the little things that just you have to put your mind in that, because you had one person say, hey, infinite scroll will help you expedite site load time, and now you're going to be optimized for SEO. Yes, that checkbox is ticked, but like, you've got to make sure that the entire customer journey is smooth and seamless through that entire transition. So it's as few clicks as possible. How many clicks does it actually take me to click from an email? That's click number. Opening the email is number one. And if you want to get really judicious, like opening your inbox is click number one, to opening the email, to clicking on the link. How many clicks do I actually have to make to convert? And then ask yourself, is there any way I can take out 10 to 20% of those steps? Because that will increase your conversion rate and increase your revenue. So I'm going to give it a 5.5, because I'm looking at the entire customer journey. Be better.
Yeah, make it easy for them, is what you're saying. Make it easy for them. So, all right, so we did like, I don't know, it was like 10 minutes long. This is awesome.
That's fine.
Hector loves this. I love this. His KPIs for the quarter are shot. All right, we are about to wrap up, but you mentioned you should have a kid look at your website and try to purchase, maybe do some emails. Let's throw an Easter egg out there on this one, because that sounds fun. All right, Gabe, inbox is full. So we hope everyone enjoy themselves today. We hope you learned something. A reminder to you, if you're a brand looking to increase your holiday sales, email, SMS, push notifications, you want high value, low cost, 24/7, 365 live customer support, be sure to check out Omnisend if you haven't done so already. You can find more information in the link in the video description, or just by going to omnisend.com. You can always search for us too. Believe it or not, we are on the internet. So we hope you enjoyed learning something. Thank you, Hector Salamanca, our producer. I am Greg Zakowicz.
And I am Gabe Macaluso.
If you want more e-commerce marketing content, check out this content right here. Until next time, happy marketing, everyone.